Okay, hello and welcome everybody to the next one of the Skylines build series. This episode we'll be dealing with the public transport, and specifically we'll be dealing with this train station mostly. I was just putting down all the different train stations that I've got access to, including this really weird looking big building one. And there was this one which I really like the look of. I like the idea of having that, the greenery on top that people could walk on, but it looked a bit too artificial. It didn't match the rest of the grass. So we went for this really cool, big architectural one here. It's like kind of like a place that you'd want to go just to look at in its own sense. Just a bit of a statement piece in and of itself. So I think that kind of fits with the big grandiose kind of sections of the city. So being around this area, I thought that fit in really quite well. It's going to slap down the train tunnels here, which we're going to be doing underground on this section. Obviously a city in reality wants to reduce the amount of underground sections as much as possible because of how much more expensive it is. But I thought a rich country with limited space, and considering, even in saying that, like, this is a significant portion of the country, still very small compared to what actual train lines and train tunnels might be like. So really it's not that big in the end. So having the part in the middle being entirely underground, thought made sense. Plus we're running metro tunnels anyway, so possibly they could be done at the same time and that would reduce the cost. I don't really know how that works, but that makes sense to me. The train line will really only be used for regional and external connections. It won't actually be used for inner city travel. That'll be entirely handled by the metro and the trams and maybe a bus route if I need. This will just be for people coming from outside of the city, and it will hook up to our larger cargo rail network, which we'll build in the future. Again, just doing a bunch underground, and then once we get out into the less populated areas, we can break it out and make a run around the side, which I thought made more sense. The highway that we have put through the mountains, that was really just because I thought it looked really cool, but that doesn't really make practical sense. But for this one, I thought I'd be a bit more sensible and actually just put it around the side instead. You can see the metro, this will be the public transport hub where we have that metro station, and the tram lines will kind of converge on this area too. The actual interchange, as I mentioned last episode, that'll be changed around, so pretend you're not seeing it because this is not the form that you'll see it in when we, in the next couple of episodes. As you can see, the sporting complex, it actually came with this train station. But because the train will only be used for external connections, not inner city travel, I thought I would use the multi-tool mod to unlock those train segments, and I actually just deleted them, and now I'm swapping them out for metro tracks because it didn't make sense having an external connection only for the train tracks and then just have this one tiny little loop just to the sporting arena. But I didn't want to keep that train station unused. So what I've done here is I've got a metro station and I've just phased it through the building, as I like to do. And that really actually worked out really quite well. I think it lines up well, and I think it actually looks pretty good. It does look a bit strange to have this kind of like double roof on the inside, but as you can see on the outside, it now actually has like a proper entrance where there's the doors that people could walk in from the street, which it didn't have last time. So actually in that way, it looks a little bit better than it originally did. So pretty happy with that. I tried to put down a line, as you can see, but for some reason was having some issues. It wasn't like, because metros should be able to go back and forth without having to have this little turnaround section. But for some reason, something about how the tracks are set up, I wasn't able to get that to work here. I think I'll have to go back, because I'm pretty sure the game does allow, or you can see on the other side, it does allow for it to just go back and forth without needing a turnaround. So I'll need to try and fix that up. And you can see here I put this little pedestrian overpass down to get people from the station to that car park where they can then walk to the sporting complex. But if I could just remove that and just have them walk straight across, that would work probably a little bit better. This station's actually pretty kind of underutilized right now. People don't really use it very much. The walk from the metro hub to the stadium on the other side is like not very much at all, so there's not really a big reason why people would need to take this second metro unless they're just like really lazy and they want it like a little bit easier. But then they could also just walk out of the metro station and take the tram up. So either way, it's not really getting used too much, but it's nice to have it there. Once I maybe built up that area a little bit more with some more services and make that into like a proper waterfront area, then hopefully it'll get a little bit more use instead. So I just need to put some parts down for, because on the ends of these little stations here, there's these little ramps that people can use to get off the stations instead. I love when I put it down and people immediately start using it. It's during a game day right now, so there's going to be a lot of people using it right now. And in the next episodes where I do the interchange upgrade, people start using it a lot more. And it's really awesome to see when the metro hubs get used a lot. And you see all the people pouring out of the stations and into different modes of transport. This is just a bypass loop for the rail, because as I've established, the kind of area being this strip of land that connects to others, you would expect probably a bit of through traffic for trains just getting from one area to the other. If anything, it might even like more tracks. You'd think that it would be a quite heavy traffic train network, even if the game doesn't make it that. But so maybe I'll upgrade that and make like a second track, but for now I think just one is enough for now. As always, just putting down some more greenery, probably some park to make everything look a little bit nicer where there's a little extra space, an extra road to make it look a little bit less weird where the transition to the grass is. I was thinking maybe of just making this entire area from this station all the way up to where the hotel section we worked on last time was, just making that one big Central Park style park. But it could be that if I start putting down a lot of like resorts and you put down like aquariums and museums and concert stages and a lot of those more touristy kind of leisure district kind of things, maybe there might not be enough room for it. So we'll see how that goes. Let me know if you think that having a big Central Park would be a cool idea. I think it would look quite nice. I'm sure I'll be able to fit something in, but it just depends on how big we make it. Here I just keep working on this little stretch of road, do a little bit of extra details, change up the roads where I think it needs a little bit of work. Gotta make sure people don't use their pocket cars when they come out and start driving on that road. That should be entirely pedestrianised except for emergency services. Here I'm just working on the time traffic lights, just manually making sure that the through traffic where the trams are gets more priority than the section up near the stadium. You can see what I said where it's game day, where there's so many people around. It's really cool to see. That I was just changing the colour of the team there to yellow, because that's normally the colour of the branding that I use for my channel, so I thought that would fit. So it'll be great to see next time when there's a game on, seeing everyone in their little yellow jerseys. Possibly could have edited this bit out, but I just wanted to show you, like, I made this little test loop where I made a little line where I would just go through and I would change the type of tram to all the different types, because I downloaded a few from the workshop. So you see there's that classic one, there's like this really weird like futuristic one, there's the Yumble one. So the main spine road I kept is the Yumble TV one, because Yumble's great channel, and all his liveried stuff in the workshop looks really great. It's also good to go in there and check, and you can see what the capacities for different trams are. because sometimes in some areas you want maybe less frequent but bigger trams, and some areas maybe you want more frequent smaller trams. So it's good to get a handle of what the capacity is, and it's like pick a more consistent type of tram network that you can use throughout the city. With this road that I put down, I wasn't like 100% sure if people were using the road as a bike path, like if bikes were using the road properly. So I put down here this bike path just to make sure. That watching it back now, I feel like I could probably get rid of that and just put down an invisible bike path down the middle of the pedestrian road. So seeing as cars won't be really using that, it makes sense that they shouldn't need a whole separate bike path for it. Here I actually set up a pedestrian scramble on this intersection. Pedestrian scramble is like where you can see it on like any movie that's set in Tokyo. You'll see where they have a scene where it shows a pedestrian scramble in the middle of the city, where all four sides of the intersection go red, and they allow pedestrians just to walk across on like diagonals any direction they want. So I set that up, and I think next time that there's a game on, that should look really cool. Here I just wanted people using this big boulevard for a bike road, so I put down an invisible bike path which then allowed them to use that big pink boulevard. But then I was started marking this intersection up, and I was like, okay, wait, if I'm going to be doing that, do I need to use this bike path road instead, because people can use the paths instead. So I thought I would spend a bit more time, as I always do, trying to figure out what to do with these roads. It can be a bit of a pain. I spend way too long doing this. I need one that can like fit within the bounds and those new decorations I put in. One that's not too wide, but also wide enough that it looks like it could be used for like drop-offs. Like the only reason I've got it as 4 lanes is because I want a through traffic and then one where people would get dropped off and picked up by like Ubers or if their friends picking them up, kind of like a airport drop-off section. So I went through a bunch of different options. I couldn't quite figure out one that I was super happy with, and I wanted to have a pedestrian crossing right here where the metro station was, so they could walk straight across to the metro. They happen to go down to the big intersection, but some of the roads don't actually show that texture with that mod. So maybe I'll come back later on and put down a different kind of road there. Lastly, just a few extra details, putting down some bike racks and bike stands where people can lock up their bikes. Made sense to have them around this metro station. I'll have to go around pretty much everywhere where I have detailed and make sure they've got little bike stands around the place, and probably actually put down some bike props as well, because that'll look extra good to see them getting used, seeing as they're not actually getting used in the game. And finally, I have this little roof asset that I found in the workshop, because some people were saying that the metro hub here was a bit unrealistic, seeing as rain and dirt and stuff might get back in there. So I try this out for a little while, see if I like the look of this roof here, and if I don't like it, then I can get rid of that in future. But this is the end of this episode. I'll leave you with a B-roll, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.